Everyone. Thank you for joining me tonight, Minister Anita Kelly, bringing you the next segment of For Real, For Real. We're coming with part two of our series, All in the Family. I hope that you are finding this to be relatable. I hope that you're finding this to be enlightening. And I am just excited to bring my guests back so we can finish our roundtable discussion. Please use the feed if you have any questions, any comments, and let us know if you are relating to this information, if it's being helpful to you. Let us know. So stay tuned. Sit back. Let's get ready for part two, All in the Family.
But I can say for me as being the eldest, being that I played the role as the mom, I had no one to go to because I couldn't go to my mom and I didn't go to my sister because my sister was younger. So I felt I had no one. I had my cousins, but I would talk to them, but like in the dynamics of being around, I felt like I had nobody. So I had no choice but to figure it out. Things on my own, or or I just didn't talk about it. Like sometimes what my sister said, it kind of touched me too when she said, "I feel like you have no voice," because she felt like she had no voice. I felt like I had no voice as being the eldest, even though she seen me in the light of being that mother figure. I, in return, still felt like I had no voice because who was listening to me other than my mom, me telling her what was my siblings doing or whatever. But I felt like I couldn't go to her as being a daughter to tell her how I was, who I was, and what I felt, and the things that I desired or whatever. I felt like I didn't have that. I would see the things that my cousin did, and I would always want to emulate the things that she did, as far as trying to, she went to school, she did all that. I tried to do all of that. I went to school, I went away, but because I was so embodied of being taking care of the house and being home, I couldn't even focus on that being away, so I stayed home. And I went to try to do a local school. You go to local school and you work at the same time, but what do you end up doing? You create more bills, so you just tend to work more and you don't do school anymore. So that was my journey of schooling. I only did like 2 years, and then I just worked because I create. You have bills. You're trying to help mom because she's a single parent. She was leaning on you more, so I felt like it was my responsibility to help take care of home versus me going to finish school, which I always desired. To this day, I still desire to have a degree. And my husband, we talk about that. He said, "Well, babe, you don't have to do that." But I said, "Yeah, I know, but there's something I want to do because I feel like I want to say I accomplished that, that I did that." And I still, that's on my mind. So you still try to do little things here and there to get things achieve in life, but it still don't desire to fulfill that one thing that you want to accomplish as far as having a degree. So it's different things that as I'm maturing, as I'm an adult, that I see. I try to tend not to do the same things that I was brought up on with my girls. I have two girls that are 15 and 13. So I try to tend not to be, as overbearing over them and controlling over them as I was controlled. Let them have a voice of who they are. Let me figure out who they are and know who they are as individuals, and not putting a perception or my persona of who I feel they should be. And that takes a while, because when you under that shadow of who your mom feel you should be, it's hard for you to break away from that. Yeah. And you don't know who you are. Like Anita was saying, you trying to find out who you are. You want to seem like you're trapped. So for a long time, I felt like I was trapped. And I couldn't, there was no way for me to escape it. And when I got married, it seemed like I escaped it because I wasn't under my mom's, you know, per se control or in her household. Because even though I was grown and paying bills and living in a household with her, she still felt like she can control you and tell you where you can go, what you can do, when you can go, and when you can do it. And it was at one point I had to let her know, like, okay, I'm an adult. I'm a responsible adult. So let me do me, and if I need help, I will come to you. But then that's what I was considered to be talking back.
Yeah.
So you couldn't express yourself as a child because you felt like if you did, you was talking back, you were being disrespectful. So, like I said, with my children, I tend not to have that persona over them because I want them to tell me things that I wasn't able to tell my mom. I want them to have a voice to let me know how they feel about certain things because I felt like I didn't have that voice. I felt like I was told, like I was a robot. Do this, do that. Go here, go there. You know what I'm saying? And you had to do it. If you didn't, you was in trouble. So it was a lot. It was a lot. And one day I was sitting and I was watching Ayala Fix My Life. And it was a young lady on there and she was just going and she was saying about, her dad. My dad was in my life. My mom and my dad had me at a very young age. So I didn't have a close relationship with my father, like a fatherly, like a mother and daughter type of relationship. I knew who my dad was. He would come get me. I would spend time with him. He bought me things when he wanted, and he took me back home. But I didn't feel like he knew me. He didn't know who I was. And as this young lady began to talk and things that was affecting her life, and I'm like, wow, that's me. She was speaking my life of the certain things and the things that happened to her. And I looked at my husband and I said, maybe I should get help. Do I need help? Because you just go through life. You just keep going. And just because that's what you thought, you just keep going. And it's just so funny that you feel like that you never talk about these things because you just bury them. You just bury because you had no voice to speak it. So you just keep going and there's no voice. You have it's buried down until someone bring that out. And then all these emotions and all these feelings and thoughts that you had when you were younger that you was never able to express. And now that you are an adult, and just like Anita said, this is the dynamics that affect your life, and as you have children, and it affects your role as you being a mother in in the home, and to lead and direct your children, and even your relationship with your husband. Because, like I said, we bumped heads because I felt like I had to control what I came from. I had to control. Did you do this? Did you do that? Did you do? I mean, it was like a list, and he would look at me like, "Woman, I got this." You know what I mean? And it took me a while before I had to release that. And then when I released it, girl, I felt good. I was like, well, I don't have to worry about that. That's his responsibility to worry about if he paid this bill and that bill. And I don't got to worry about that. I was like, thank you, Jesus. But until you realize that those some things that you can release. But, you have to come to realization of that.
And that's really good because a lot of relationships, husband-wife type relationships have been destroyed because, of these things that we had to deal with growing up. And we're not saying that they were wrong things. It was just that you didn't realize how much that functioned and just to find us in that, And I had talked before about when I was in Tampa, and I realized that tension cap that felt like I was wearing on my head was gone, but it was because of all the control and all the pressure that came down on me in the role that I had to play. Because not only was I the oldest girl in our home, but I was the oldest granddaughter in on my father's side. So there was an expectation, I believe, of me. And so not only did I have to take care of my little sister, but I also had to take care of my cousins, the four of them, BJ, and whoever else was around. And so they became my responsibility. So I had more than just one baby sister. I had 3 baby sisters, and I had 3 baby brothers, my other cousins. And so they added to my duties because her mom, but my father died, my aunt and my mom came in cahoots against me. So she had to deal with her mom. We had to deal with our mom. I had to deal with their moms, both moms. And so now I got 2 mamas. And those 2 mamas were tight on me. And so I think they had tried to come up with a way to keep me busy so I wouldn't get into boys. So I had to pick them up from school. I had to make sure I got my sister from the bus stop. If my aunt had a bill to pay, she would tell me to come out on her job and get the money. And I have to go pay her bill, water bill, light bill, whatever. And so the responsibilities just never stopped. They just started compounding. And so where was I? I had to struggle to find me. And I think I told in one of my other sessions that, when I realized that I could finally think and I didn't have this tension cap on my head, I said I knew I couldn't go back. And so that's where that comes from. Once you break out of all the control and figuring out who you are, and once you know that you've kind of broken out of that, you have to guard and protect yourself so that you don't go back, right? Because they'll pull you right back in there and then make you feel guilty about it. So I try real hard, like Cameron said, to not impose that on my girls. Only they can speak and say how the dynamic was for them, but I knew what I was working with, and I know, so I did the best I could to try not to force some of that on them, although some of the things that we took from it was good, so to take the good and the not the bad, so we had to do a filter. So I'm hoping, and I still have to work real hard with myself with adult children, that I don't try to interfere in their lives, let them make their mistakes, and hope they know that I'm here if they need to talk to me, and that hoping they feel like they can, or at least be able to open up and talk to somebody, so they're not like Kale, just hold it in until something happens and she want to explode and nobody can figure out where that's coming from. That's what happens.
I have a lot of those moments, and I'm a laid back person, and I can endure a lot. But I do have those moments when I can't endure no more, and I do explode. And I think that's where I had a lot of anger issues growing up, because I never knew when I was going to explode. And I took so much, a lot in, and I didn't have no one to talk to. So when those moments came near, I was very explosive. I mean, I have said some things to some people that I probably shouldn't said, and tried to hurt them too as well.
Yeah.
So that was me growing up. Don't like to listen, and always, angry. I always get angry when I felt like, I have had enough. And, growing up in my teenage years, I used to get blamed for a lot of stuff that my brother did. And my mom knew that they did it, but I guess she wanted me to take the heat for my brothers. So I used to take a lot of stuff in when this is in high school, and that we used to clash a lot because I used to get so upset because I had to take their blame. Everything was pointed towards me as if I told my brothers to do that. I'm hanging with my two oldest brothers, and I'm the one that's getting in trouble for it. And it's not them, it's me. And I could never understand why I'm always getting in trouble for something that I just went along with because they told me to come. So I felt like I was more the innocent standby person than actually being. And like I said, there was no one for me to explain to that. I just had to take the heat and keep on trying. And that's what I continue to do. And so it's so different. Just brought up so different, and now how I'm older that I realize so many things. I realize so many things now, and I try to express. I have a hard time expressing my thoughts and feelings to people, and I try to do my best with my sister, and try to. She's like, we had an incident last week, and she was like, no, just tell me. I'm like, no, nah, I don't want to tell you. I just go home and just exempt myself from the equation. Period. And she's like, no, I don't want you to leave. She's like, no, don't leave, but I'm not gonna stop you. But if it's your choice to leave, but I knew what that be, that she really didn't want me to leave, but she's gonna give me that space and that opportunity for me to figure it out. So I can say that me and her, we started to talk a lot, and I'm trying to build that sister relationship with her. And every time I come over to her house, I say, I'm gonna get you there. And she's like, okay, because she knows I'm a jokester, and I was like, okay, you gonna give me a hug today? She's like, really? I'm like, because she always presses me back. And I said, well, you gonna give me a hug anyways, and I try to hug it anyways. And she pushed me back, but I still get one in. But we didn't do that a lot growing up. Us embracing each other, hugging each other. We didn't do that a lot.
Yeah.
And I was kind of figuring like my friends always hug me every time they see me, and I can't, and I have to fight my sister just to get a hug. So I finally told her, you want me to hug you when you're gone already? I said, no, I want to hug you now, like that. And so she was like, okay. So she gave me a hug. So now it's still not the best, but we getting there.
But you're working on it. And so we're all a work in progress. And so when we say that it's all in the family. So this is usually what a family dynamic consists of. And so what I'm loving, you know what I mean? And so I think that my sister and I have come a long ways. You know, I think we're pretty close. I think we share, you know, some things. I think we're pretty close. And so
Were we ever distant?
hmm?
Were we ever distant?
I don't think we were distant, but we have like 5 years. We
I
have,
think because I'm trying to see how many years apart are you guys? 6. So everybody's like 5, 7, and 8 years older than me. So when I'm a teenager, y'all gone, and I didn't have like, you know, those pressures. I ain't had nobody to worry about, nobody to
Right.
get in my way. Nobody, you know.
yeah, it was different.
So I just did what I wanted to do with the little baby. We are the youngest, but we different.
Mm-hmm.
Because you had to deal with Mama Kenny and all those other pressures, but they were like gone. They older than me.
Mm-hmm.
And basically my space was my space. And
And so, and then your dynamic was different because I had our dad until we were 16. You were like 10. So by the time you became a teenager, you had a single parent. You were in a single parent household similar to Cammy. So the whole family dynamic had changed.
Kenny was my little sister.
And so by then, I'm sure my mother was tired between trying to raise us. She lost her husband at 38. She had 4 kids. She had her nieces and nephews too that, you know, she was looking after here and there. They were adults, but they were coming and going. And so she was still concerned about them. So I imagine that, you know, and she made a comment my mother made a comment just last week. But by the time she came a teenager, you were gone and you left me there. You were not able to help me. And I'm thinking, that was her child. I had to go. It was time for me to go on off to school. You know, I had graduated. And so, but the way my mother perceived it, it was different. You know, perhaps I was supposed to do like they expecting Cammy to do was to stay there and help her. But I'm thinking I was about to lose it because I was trying to figure out who I was. So I don't know how well that would have worked if I had stayed. You know, like I said, I felt like I was saving my own sanity for just leaving, you know, and not that I was trying to get away from my mom, but I was trying to find me in everything, you know, because I appreciate my mom, you know, and she's my rock. So I'm not speaking anything against the way I was raised because I think I'm very responsible. I think I've been able to achieve much. And I know that they instilled some things in me that has taken me through life, you know. But when it comes to our family, family is chaos. Family is just what it is. But you have to make a decision that, so we all made some mistakes in the past. Somebody wronged us, we wronged somebody. We hurt somebody, feeling somebody hurt our feelings. Give me a hug now, okay? Like they saying, we passed that now. I want to see more affection. And so in our generation, and I know we're not the only ones, affection was not a high thing in the families, but because our parents didn't get affection either. So now we're getting into this affectionate stage, you know, trying to give our children the hug and to say, I love you. I was probably 40 something years old before my mother ever told me she loved me. Out of her mouth.
She still struggles with that.
And she still struggles with it.
Yeah, I would text her, I love you, and I get a okay, or good night, or I'm like, okay.
But she didn't have that. So,
you know.
And so it's not an excuse, but it's just that.
We get the same thing from
Me and Jared be loving and emojis all over the place. 50 million hearts.
It's trying to understand that. But see, your mom lost her mom at about 10, 12. Our mom lost her mom at about 10. So that where that nurture comes from, they miss that. So as we grow up and we mature, we have to see that people can't give you what they don't have. It's not that they don't love you, they just have not practiced that. They desire it, I'm sure. You know, so now we can.
We learn them all the time, right?
And I think that's why it's so important that we hear our parents' stories.
Yes.
Because, you know, with us not knowing, I mean, I have heard a lot of stories, but I didn't hear. My mom did tell me a little bit of her story, but not go into various details of the story. But most of the stuff I know my sister told me, and my sister always told us that Mom was doing the best she could.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's not good enough for me. That's just an excuse you're just telling me. And you know, I'm like, no, she should do like, and I'm like to go in. And she was like, no, she. I was like, no, it's gotta be more because she just can't. That can't be just her best. I say, well, you know, like that. But and that's me coming from a lot of anger and a lot of things with me growing up. So you know, I had to listen to Mama Kitty.
But a lot of times they're coming from a place of hurt. So they can't tell you everything at one time. Sometimes, you know, depending on the situation, because I know they come from places of hurt. I used to always tell people that my mother's life is like a riddle. She give you pieces here and there. And for years I've been trying to piece together her past, her childhood. And so there were some very traumatic things in there, you know, even from going back to, all the way back to saying, her aunts used to tell her, they gave her a nickname, Inky. And Inky meant a spot on the pillow because she was so dark. And they put on the pillow, they would tell her she looked like an ink spot. What is that to tell somebody? So she grew up with this, thinking that she was so dark that her aunts called her Inky. So what does that do? You know, that creates something, and you building off of a negative, shaky foundation. So then you're taking in all this negative stuff. And so I very rarely will hear her talk about anything that was instilled in her that was positive. So I'm sure she had her own struggles to try not to impart some of that on us. But it seeps out because maybe she hadn't come into awareness of some of it. You know, you don't know sometimes.
Because people always talk about negative stuff. They have negative responses more than they have positive. Just nature, you know.
Yeah.
Everything's always negative. There's nothing happy on the news, you know.
Right.
Everything's negative. That's just that's what people want to do. See, negative. Nobody says nothing positive.
That's
crazy.
That's what sells. The more negativity, no good news sells. So the negatives it sells. That's what people want to hear. The negative.
Yeah.
People want to like different shows because there's more drama on the TV,
Right.
more sales. So
and everybody like it.
even though if it ain't true of that, and I have a thing about reality TV. Not saying that I don't like it, but it's not showing a good example of how you should get along as people. Like the housewives, a bunch of women that just cannot get along and have different opinions. Why? We all women, we should all try to strive and build each other up instead of tearing each other down. No matter what each other are going through, learn how to be there for each other as women and not be able to always tear down a person. Don't tear down a person's character or the way how they think is different. Let that embrace you and make that your circle, make that stronger, and don't tear it down.
I see reality TV as being just that. TV. It's scripted. It's entertainment. That's what people like. They love drama, and that's why they do it. And then probably ain't even true half the time.
Right.
But that's what people like, so that's what they do. I don't even watch reality TV like that. So that's all it is. It's entertainment.
But they don't realize that they're filling their spirit with that. And it bounces into their family.
Yeah, from people like that. Yeah. But I'm just okay, so something I wanted to say, I forgot what it was. Oh, with Auntie. I'm thinking, she was the baby, her sister went to college and did their thing, so she was kind of stuck like Kimmy. Gotta take care of her brothers, gotta cook, gotta do all of this before she started having kids.
But even though she was the baby in her family,
Right.
and her role changed because she became the only female that was in the house.
Left. Yeah.
So her role changed.
So she
go
had
ahead.
to do what Kimmy does. So that's why she put it on Kimmy, because that's what she had to do.
Yeah.
And that's why you got it. 'Cause that's all she knew.
Because she did it. I could do it too. The responsibility was on her, and that's what I realized. When I think back on it, I talked a lot with Uncle Randolph. He shared a lot of stories with me, with my mom, and the one thing he always said that he hated that they always treated her like she was an adult, and she was a child, that she never had that childhood. And she never could be a child because she was treated as if she was an adult, and he said he didn't like that. So when you're treated as if you're an adult and you have that they put that responsibility on you as that is how you're gonna that's how you're gonna go, and that's the top
Yeah,
girl.
and it's not really her fault because that's all she knew.
Right.
Now we're more modern day, all these
Right.
studies, this and that. We're trying not to do it to our kids,
Yeah.
but that time and age is no. You know what I'm saying? This is it.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's the only thing we knew.
Because I
Well,
said it.
That's how I did, Gerald. I only have one child, but I know Gerald told me, and you used to tell me he's an adult now, and he needs to express himself and all of this, but I just never took to it. If I say be quiet, end the story. I don't want you to say nothing. I don't want to hear it. I never looked at him as being grown and an adult child like my sister. That's your adult child. I didn't care. You ain't gonna talk that. Period. I don't care if you're 45. Period. Right? Because that's how it is. So that's how Gerald, I never okay, Gerald, what do you want to say? What are you mad at? Why are you storming off? If he stormed off, that was the end of the story. You don't storm off, So I never tried to see what was, listen to him. I just was dictating. And, even though he grown, he ain't even in my house. I'm dictating because that's what it is. You always respect him, period.
But he will respect you, but you have to also respect him.
Yeah, I didn't do that part.
Yeah,
I
was
didn't
just saying.
say, okay, well, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, bye.
When I
Shut up.
I
never said.
have
So
a gift of getting in young adults, teenagers, little kids' world. I'm the best person to get into their world. So my job is when my nieces and nephews can tell you that they can talk to me on just about anything. And I make them feel free to tell me about anything, what's going on in their world. I like to get in their space and in their world without them knowing that I'm in their space or in their world. Like, what's going on with you? And when I go over and I see my niece Sam, I say, oh, what's wrong with my world? Who did it? Tell me what happened and why you upset and like that. And then that's when they begin to open up to me and I begin to help them out in the areas. And I said, you hear me, Auntie? I said, yes, I'm just listening. Then I'll say something like to you and then that's be it. And then I said, okay, let's play a game. And like, I'm so good at getting into their world because I didn't have nobody to get into my space. And I know what it is when you do not have a voice to talk. And you can't express what you're trying to get out. So I always get into their world. And look, I say, look, I know how to be hard on you when I need to. But, and you know, I say, just don't disappoint me and be good. Like that. I said, listen to you. I said, let's listen. I say, then when your mom will cool off and you have to tell them something, then go back to them and ask, Mom, can I ask you a question? Then you go present it that
Teach
way.
them how to be respectful and get
Yes.
yeah.
Because I said, when they tell you something, just listen. All you do is listen and apply.
Yeah.
Okay? I said, then at another time, you go back to them and ask them, can you have a conversation with them? And then you approach them then. So that's my best, teaching with the young people, or if you have young adults and you trying to get into that space of what's going on in their life. Because I know I was at a point to where I shut everybody out. I shut my sister out. I shut my mom out. I shut everybody out. I didn't want them to call me. I didn't answer their phone if they called. I just shut everybody out. I'm like, I'm not gonna talk to anybody. I feel like I don't do anything, but everything is my fault. I don't do nothing, but I'm like, if I tell you, you're not gonna like the way how I respond to it. I can respond to a lot of stuff nasty, but I just choose not to. Like I would ready for you to win the conversation if you want to tell me something, and she's like, why do you do that? I'm like, it's not worth me saying nothing to you back and getting into my feelings and saying something to you back to hurt you, because that's all I want to say. So I just let you have that particular conversation, and I just don't say anything. But she say, you should be like that. I'm like, no, I don't care if you win an argument. You can talk about me. I'll give you that argument. I'll let you have it, and I'm gonna go on. And guess what? I'm gonna just stay to myself, and I'll keep my feelings in, and I do not say anything. And she said, why? Right, sis?
This has been a really great discussion. And this is not pre-scripted. I put them
On the spot.
on the spot. So what you getting is raw footage. But it's genuine, it's true, and it's pure. And
Yes.
I appreciate you ladies opening up and sharing, and spending this time with us. And I don't want to cut anyone off. I know this is probably going to be a couple segments, and it is more than I ever thought it would be. And I'm just so excited. No, it's a great thing,
Yes.
because if families don't realize that all that chaos is what we call family. But I don't care what relationship you have that you may feel it wasn't the best relationship. Guess what? As long as you're breathing, you got time to put it together. And what did it take? Just opening up, start expressing how I felt. Most times the other person is clueless. And you holding all this stuff in, and the other person have no idea what you all jacked up about. So to speak. So get to a place where you can just sit over
Except me. I'll let you know what I'm
some
talking
snacks and just open up and just have a talk.
about. I said, except me, I'll let you know what I'm jacked up about.
Well, my sister's kind of outspoken, so she don't hold nothing in. There's no pressure sitting on her chest. Ain't no pressure.
No high blood pressure or none of that.
Sitting in her head.
Just get it out.
But so I so appreciate you tonight. Is there anything you'd like to say before we end this session? I really, really appreciate you. And these are my cousins. I call them my sisters. And I believe we have a really good relationship.
Yeah.
And we love spending time together. Now we laugh about stuff. in the past, but we also help to heal one another and realizing we come from a very good family, very close family,
Yes.
and so we're not easily broken.
Right.
We are not easily broken,
We're very strong.
and yeah, and so we know the road that we travel, and guess what? We don't throw up mistakes and stuff like that in each other's face. But if there's something we need to get through so we can bring that love in, unrestricted and true and real, you got to sit down and you just got to talk about it. Be willing to open up and be real, be willing to take it, be willing to give it, be willing to take it. And guess what? Nobody can get mad. You got to listen. My story is my story. Change each other's story, but we can listen. And wherever we can help, we can help. But they know they can call big sister anytime. I'm still big sister. I don't care. And ain't nobody gonna mistreat them. I don't care. They older than me now, but nobody's gonna mistreat them not around. Not on my watch.
Right.
Yeah, because we have a tight relationship. Our family grew up. They kept us together, especially on weekends. We were always together and doing something. So our families, our fathers and our aunts and uncles built a very strong family, and so we still try to carry that on today. First cousins forever.
That's it.
Yeah. So thank you, ladies. Thank you so much. Thank you. Wow, thank you so much. I truly hope that you have enjoyed the finale of All in the Family. Listen, family is love. Family is what it does. Family is chaotic. Many relationships have been destroyed because we could not come and have a meeting of the minds, agree to disagree. Let's just hear each other out. Let's work through it, because we need family. We need one another. And so we were just sharing some of the things that, we have encountered our story. Each of us had our own story. Each way we relate things are different. So all that, makes up the family. And so we hope that this has been enriching and enlightening. Again, if you have any questions, any comments, please do put them in the feed. But I do thank you for your time and your attention to this all in the family. I will have the entire segment on my YouTube page, and I will post that on my Reflections for the Soul group, so that you can find me on YouTube, and then I will have the entire segment there, so you can watch the whole thing in its entirety. Share it with someone, share it with a family member that you're having difficulty expressing yourself with, and just see if it might help bridge that gap, And so I am Minister Nita Kelly. I'm here as a servant of the Lord to do whatever I can for whoever I come in contact with. If I could be assistance to you in any way, please feel free to reach out and contact me. Until next Monday at 8 p.m., may God bless you, may God keep you, and may He help you to build and rebuild your families. In Jesus' name, amen.